Austin, Texas, recently, apparently they've been catching bodies out of there, floating down this lake or river. I can't remember. It was either a lake or river, right near Austin. Austin, the city is in the background of this photo.
Yeah.
And the citizens are convinced that there is a serial killer out there because in the last 2 years there have been 12 bodies. And I will say even from where we currently live, that's not really a normal thing, right? Like if I started finding 12 bodies in a lake in 2 years, that's a problem. Like something's happening here, right? Further reading the story though, it sounds like the police looked into it more. There was one person who, out of the 12, there was only one that was suspicious, and they ended up arresting a person off of that one person. That was suspicious death at the time.
Yeah, and it was a murder, right? That one at least.
It was deemed a homicide. Yeah. Yep, it was deemed he did not die of natural causes or anything like that. So with that being said, the other 11 were deemed either a drowning or some type of other natural event that caused them to die.
Like you said, 12 people found in a body of water is very abnormal, and so I can see how that would be suspicious. That's almost too many to be a coincidence of any sort.
Right.
Now, one of them only was a murder, but I looked into the area, and this is Austin, Texas, and you were confused about whether it was a lake or a river because it is called a lake, but it's one of those like man-made canals, like the LA
Correct.
River.
Yes.
Because there's no natural bodies of water in the area, right?
Correct.
So this is the only body of water in the area. And so even if they were all murders, I think it does make sense just for that reason because, if you are going to commit a murder down there, you don't really have a lot of options for where you're going to dump your body, right? And
true,
so they're all going to go into that one place, and you hope it just goes downstream, right? We live in Minnesota, but we're called the land of 10,000 lakes. So, like, if you commit a murder here, you have almost too many options, I would say.
Yeah, more than 10,000, actually.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And if you ask 10 fishermen, you're going to get 10 different answers on where's the best place to dump a body, right? So there's a lot more options. So if you were to find 12 bodies in a lake here, well, that would be highly suspicious. But down there, they only have the one lake to choose from. When's the last time you heard about an active serial killer in the country?
Yeah, it's been a while. You talk about back in the 70s, 80s, and even early 90s. I mean, you're looking at huge names, right? Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, all those guys. It was super weird. It was like everyone was a serial killer at that time. But it's interesting. The last time I heard of one somewhat recently his name is Anthony Soule. He was in Cleveland, I believe, Cleveland, Ohio. And he murdered between 15 and 20 girls, somewhere around there. And what he would do was he would take them in. Most of them are prostitutes. Take them in, typically drug them or get them intoxicated, have sex with them, and then kill them after the fact. There's actually a really good Vice documentary that people can watch on him. It's kind of ironic because the smell from his house was so bad because he left the bodies in the house that people thought it was the meat market literally right next door. Like there was something wrong with the ventilation system or something. So the owner ended up moving and the smell didn't go away. Well, what ended up sparking it was a woman woke up one day in the middle of the night at his house. She went to the bathroom. She saw in a side room that there was a headless woman's body.
Oh, my God.
Now, instead of panicking, because she knows what this guy may be able to do.
Because he's just a creep or something? Like, she had
correct.
a suspicion? Yeah.
Yeah. She ended up getting into an altercation with him. She ended up jumping out the second window naked and running down the street. And the cops finally did something then. But it makes you wonder, right? If, let's say, he's 16 bodies in and at least 8 of them, because there were some buried in the yard, at least 8 of them are in the house. As a human being, if you smell something rotting in a house, are you going in there? Because I ain't.
No.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not going in this guy's house. Be like, bro, what is that smell?
Yeah.
What? You know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary. Same thing happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, it's the same sort of story.
The thing opened, his door opened. They're like, "What is that?" Even his neighbor all the time was like, "Where's that smell coming from?"
Yeah.
You know.
He's just like, "Oh, I just left some ham in
Right.
the fridge."
Yeah. The family brought
you
a
just
pack
buy
of meat
that?
to the.
Yeah.
To the. I
He's
mean,
like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like even if I didn't think anything was wrong, I would say, "Okay, well, let's go hang out somewhere else because I can't stand
correct.
this."
Yeah. Let's go to a restaurant or
Yeah.
something like so. Yeah, that's what I got to say on that. I don't-
Well, I saw a Ted Bundy documentary, and I think they identified one of the main reasons why there's not a lot of serial killers right now is because that Ted Bundy thing really exposed a hole in the police system because they were not interconnected, and that dude would just jump from state to state over in the West, and because police departments didn't like check with each other and they didn't have any sort of database interconnecting them, then every single one was like a brand new case with nothing connecting it because they were in completely different areas. After that, well, now like you can see, I'm assuming, right? You can see if there's similar crimes anywhere else, or like your DNA that you find or any evidence, you can link that to crimes probably anywhere in the country, and that just wasn't possible back then. That, and then I guess not to mention all the cameras that are around now. I mean, people have cameras on their houses.
Yeah.
So it's got to be significantly harder to be able to get away with 4 murders in a row to actually qualify as a serial killer. Probably going to get caught far sooner than that.
Yeah, you're right about the system thing. It's called NCIC. Every single state has that system, so it can be shared throughout all 50 states. So anything that's ran, if they have an outstanding warrant out of state, there's people that I'll deal with that actually have warrants, but the warrant says within a certain radius from the state, right? So recently I dealt with somebody who had a Louisianian warrant,